All right, we're joined now by FS1's NBA analyst, Chris Broussard. Chris, we talked about it, but I want to know what you think. How does this play out?
Well, I would tend to agree with Chris Sheridan that I'm sure trading Kawhi to the Lakers is the Spurs' last resort. Remember how upset Greg Popovich was with Memphis when they traded Pau Gasol to the Lakers? So, look, why in the world would the Spurs give Kawhi, number one, what he wants? When he wants out, why in the world would you give him what he wants? Number two, why would you strengthen a conference rival? And so I think that they'll look to the East. The Spurs have some leverage. Kawhi obviously has got leverage because he can tell any team, I'm not staying long term.
Hey, that's all. He's going to nip any deal.
But they have some leverage too, because I was talking to an executive yesterday from a Western Conference team that said, if I'm the Spurs, I wouldn't trade him. You still have through February, right, to the deadline to at least, if you want to try to play it out and try to make amends. Look, I doubt he can sit out again, okay? So you try to make amends. If that doesn't work, if you do that, guess what? What if the Lakers go out and sign LeBron and Paul George? Now they no longer have the cap room to go out and get Kawhi. So he can't say anymore, I'll just walk to the Lakers as a free agent. Then you can trade him wherever you want because he can't stay with L.A. So, look, here's the thing, too, with Kawhi. If I'm him, I get wanting to be in L.A., wanting to be at home. You're from here. But, man, I think Boston and Philly are both better options. And I know that his uncle, who's advising him, Dennis Robertson, is close with Kawhi or Kyrie's dad. And, look, I don't know. I have no idea how Kawhi feels about playing with LeBron. But I know that his uncle has heard whatever horror stories Kyrie had that led him to want out of Cleveland. Denny Robertson has heard him. Now, I don't know how that affects Kawhi or even Dennis, whether he would want him to play with LeBron. But I know he's heard those stories. And if Kawhi and Kyrie are tight, and I don't know that they are or not, why in the world wouldn't you stay in Boston and build something there where you're in the East? You be the favorites, even with Philadelphia. You be the favorites for the next several years. You got a great organization. I think he needs to look there. Or Philly, too. If he went to Philly, he'd be the veteran they need. He'd be the first or second scoring option. And he could be viewed as the guy that gets them over the top. So, but look, obviously you're looking at LeBron, Kawhi, and Paul George if this works out for the Lakers. But I just don't know why the Spurs would play ball with that.
I know why. Yeah. Because, first of all, this is what we know, Chris. You covered this game long enough. The team that trades the superstar normally loses the trade. Because it's hard to get back equal value
Except
for
him.
Cleveland.
They
definitely lost that trade. But here's the thing. If you got those pieces, say Ingram and Kuzma or Ingram and Lonzo.
Well, you definitely don't see Lonzo going there, right?
Well, I
can't see LeVar and Pop or R.C. Buford. I can't see them.
I don't see how Lonzo stays with the Lakers if they get Kawhi, LeBron, and Paul George. There's really no need for him because you have two guys. Really, you have three guys that can initiate offense.
Yeah.
And Lonzo is not a spot-up shooter. So what use will he be to them? So with that being said, yeah, sure, he could go. But I think LeBron James is on the phone right now with Kawhi. What you thinking, bro? Because what we can do, we can put this thing together. Because in everybody's mind,
LeBron better do a lot of talking because he's not going to hear much back.
Kawhi.
He doesn't say anything.
Look here, let me tell you something, Skip Bayless. When LeBron James picks up the phone and call, you take that call. There are very few people in the world that you can say, I'm busy.
What if his hand is hurt?
No, ain't nothing wrong with his hand. Ain't nothing wrong with his hand.
Man, how you? This used to be your guy.
Skip, here's the thing.
I'm out.
This is what everybody should be thinking. How do we take down that team from the Bay? I'm not worried about no Eastern Conference.
Sure.
I'm not worried about no Western Conference. I'm worried about how do we beat that Big Four. And this is a big start. Because I tell you what, if those three guys link up in L.A., we're on a collision course. And I don't just like my chances, I love my chances with the Lakers.
I would love them more if you got Kevin Durant to come to L.A. with LeBron and weaken the Golden State Warriors while strengthening the Lakers.
We want them strong.
That would really
We want them strong.
Would you like Kevin Durant and LeBron in LA
Yes.
better than those three in LA? LeBron, Kyrie, or
Yes.
Kawhi, and
Yes.
Paul George.
Yes, because I don't trust the two complementary stars in the biggest moments. I don't trust
Kawhi ain't no
Leonard.
complimentary star. Stop saying that.
He's not
He's a
number
superstar.
one. He is not a superstar, and you know it, and I know
He's
it.
a superstar. You got to admit. Whether he
doesn't
the
have a
clutch guy and all that,
superstar
but he's a superstar.
backbone, like basketball backbone. He got exposed this year.
But do you think that's
you know what? I've used you. You were one of the first to say he is going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
You predicted that. He crumbled under those expectations. He crumbled for the first time under the expectation of you need to become Tim Duncan, not in ability or performance, just in stature. You need to take this franchise over. And he crumbled. He had a bruised thigh, and he played 9 games with it. Are you kidding me? He quit on that team.
But
It was
you
too
said
much.
that team, Skip. My question is only this. Do you think some of that lack of backbone that you are pointing out here is specific to the Spurs organization? Does that automatically transfer if he's in an LA or another market?
Well, obviously, his dream job would be to play in LeBron's shadow with the Lakers.
Yeah,
Stop
stop saying that.
Well, I'm
Skip.
not just telling you. Okay, and by the way, I got to say this too. We
The
can bring up the
Lakers would
Chris
be-
Sheridan report, and Chris been covering this league for a long time, as you know. But stop it. In the end, R.C. Buford runs the San Antonio Spurs, not the head coach. The head coach does not have final say over personnel moves. The GM does, and he is simply, over time, proven to be the best GM in basketball. I trust R.C. Buford a lot more than I trust Kawhi Leonard, so I'm going to bet on R.C. in this whole notion, the old bromide about you never get back equal value for a superstar. Well, you better be careful with this guy. He just might, and I've already thrown this out. If the Lakers want to give the Spurs Lonzo and Kuzma and Brandon Ingram, I'm good to go.
They would.
Do that.
I'm sure they
do
would.
it. Do
Absolutely.
it. I'm
You
good.
think, you
I'm
think
good.
the Spurs would want forget Lonzo, LeVar?
I think
Can you
I think
imagine
Greg
the-
Popovich would want Lonzo, though. He would love Lonzo.
I think he'd like Lonzo. I just think I cannot see LeVar Ball in San Antonio. And I'll say this, Skip,
I think
about
LeVar
RC.
can't see LeVar in San Antonio, right?
That's true, too. You're right, RC. And look, I think RC Buford and the Spurs front office overplayed their hand. Because I've talked to people around this situation. A week ago, Kawhi's camp, they were ready to meet with Greg Popovich. And the whole thing was going to be about what they wanted to hear was why, when we met with you and the Spurs, everything was good. We're meeting, you're on board, we're going to New York, you're sending trainers with us to New York. We're saying, let's not play this out in the media, let's not talk. And then a week or two later, I see stories with anonymous sources saying there's tension between Kawhi and the organization. Kawhi began feeling like the Spurs are two-faced. And then a couple days ago, a few days ago, the story comes out that Kawhi's going to have to convince the Spurs that he's worth the Supermax when they meet. So now he's like,
Chris
this
Broussard,
is one more thing.
a month
That's
ago.
why he cut the meeting.
Okay, a month ago, if I'd asked you the most respected organization in all of pro basketball, you would have said the Spurs.
Yes, and it's the same as the Patriots. We've seen leaks coming. Like now, both organizations, you see things breaking down. You're right. I would have said the Spurs. And I have respect for RC and obviously Pop and those guys. But in this situation, historically, there are certain types of guys that just have not been Spurs guys.
You got it.
Duncan and David Robinson were unique.
They were.
And there were other guys there that-
Ginobili's unique in his basketball character.
And Tony Parker, they're foreigners,
Yeah.
From Europe and Argentina. That's a different,
Yep.
vibe than a lot of American black kids.
I'm going
Let's
to
just
remind
cut
you
to
one
the
more
chase.
time. At mid-season, the most conservative and patient medical staff in all of sports cleared Kawhi Leonard to play full-speed, full-time basketball with a bruised quad. And he said, no, I can't. And then he went to New York to meet with a surgeon and a physical therapist who are close friends of mine, so I know what was going on. And I just got to tell you, the Spurs sat back and said, seriously? And then they had that big summit meeting with the players. That was about a month after that, with a month to go in the season. And Tony Parker spoke out and said, my injury is 100 times worse than his because he had a ruptured quadriceps. And you were right about Charles Barkley. In his last year in Houston, he did rupture. But that's the only other one I've ever heard of. It's a freakish injury for like a middle-aged sort of star. So the point
Especially
is,
the guys that's not explosive. Normally that happens with guys that are very
I don't know.
explosive.
It's just freakish. It's almost like an Achilles tear where you can't even explain why it happened. But the point is, Kawhi Leonard had a bruise, and the medical people there are saying, wait a minute, you just collected $19 million from us, and now you're in line to get $219 million as a supermax if you want to stay home as our franchise player. And they're saying, we can't trust you enough to bet $219 million. I wouldn't do it.
And he said, you know what? I don't care. I'll take $31 million less.
He's going to have to.
See, Kevin Durant and LeBron James can do that because they're making $40, $50 million off the court. Kawhi Leonard is not making that kind of money off the court. So for him to say, you know what? Forget it. I'm up out of here. Because, Tony, first of all, Skip, Kawhi Leonard is very respected, too. He doesn't say a whole lot, but you can look at his personality and tell he'll just bottle it in. And when he blows, he's blowing up out of town. See, you can't coach him. And I know his personality reminds you of Tim Duncan. Quiet, very stoic. They're not rah-rah. But Coach Skip, think about it. Coach Belichick coaches Tom Brady the exact same way he coaches everybody else.
Yeah.
Pop thought he could coach everybody the same way. Well, Kawhi is a different kind of cat, Skip. The guy got the same car, Chevrolet Blazer or whatever kind of truck it is, for 15 years. He ain't bought anything new. The dude still got cornrows from the 90s. So you could tell he's a different type of cat. So what may sway somebody one way is not going to move him in the other. So, Skip, you had to be mindful of how you handle him. So he looks at them and say, you guys think I'm faking. You guys think I'm lying.
Yeah, but remember, Tim Duncan was the rock.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
franchise. Kawhi's a pebble. That's what he is.
Stop doing this, Skip.
He's a pebble that's going to be haunting y'all.
All right. I let him haunt.
Skip, but also, we got to stop because the doctors say this. Look, there have been things that sometimes baffle some of the greatest doctors. Because I go to M.D. Anderson
Sure.
See, I go to the Mayo Clinic or I go to M.D. Anderson in Houston.
Yeah.
Well, they can't, with Mr. Sharpe, you okay? Nah, something wrong with me. I know me. This is not your body. I know what you're telling me. I know what you went to school to train and study for, but I'm not right. Kawhi says, I understand, guys, what you're saying, but I'm not right.
So the Lakers better be careful.
No, Lakers, don't be careful.
Right
Plunge, Lakers.
You don't mind if he goes to the Lakers?
Not at all, especially if I get those three back.
Oh, you can have him.
Have
you can
him?
have him. You can have him.
Have him.
Do it.
Bye.
Do it.